EDA Music Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the EDA Music Radio podcast. Today we've got Carron Dawn Wright with us, along with James. Hello there.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for much for doing this interview.
You're welcome. Pleasure. It's a pleasure.
It's always good to hear new people and new songs and everything, you know, and it's actually good to hear the story behind them as well. Because sometimes you don't get that. I just listen to the songs and play them, but I never really get to hear what the artist was going on about each of the songs. So it's good to do the interviews.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's great because when we started the process for the EP You Promised, a lot of the songs have kind of come from a situation that I've been in. So a lot of the songs are quite personal to me. And because I used to do musical theatre, I really like the kind of theatrical element of music. So I like the drama and I like different sounds and sort of I've got a lot of different influences as well.
That's one thing I can't fault you on. They're very dramatic.
They are. I think I'm a bit of a dramatic person, actually. Woe is me. No, not really.
You got the strings in there as well.
Yeah, we wanted to, when Carron first came into the studio with her songs and sort of told me about the kind of ideas that she was having on the theatrical nature of things, we looked at trying to blend something that would encompass a bit of the musical theatre as well as, kind of like a pop song, effectively. So we looked at the sorts of instruments that we used in musicals and Broadway and that sort of genre of music, and just tried to sort of tailor it into the songwriting side of bits to give Carron something that would be a sound of her own, really.
Exactly, and it's a very good blend as well.
Thank you.
The two main ones that I play in rotation quite a lot, January.
January's cold.
Yeah,
and December.
And December, yeah.
Is there a theme going on there?
January's Cold is
yes.
It's actually a song about my decision to stop doing musical theatre and actually carry on songwriting.
Oh, I see.
And when I wrote that song, it was actually on a really cold January's day, and I think the whole element of the fact that I like storytelling really came into that song, and I feel that I kind of poured my emotions at the time into it. I really think it's important that I connect with every song that I write, that I have an actual link to it. So there's certain words in there like when Jack whispers to me, which is basically musical theatre, like whispering at me, and then but the sun in my heart is my songwriting. So it's kind of me basically just changing it and creating a different sound. But I really like, with that song, I really like the fact that the strings sound like ice creeping up on you, and you kind of got the dark sounds, and for me that song tells a story of how I decided that I wanted to do songwriting properly and I wanted to go for it.
Exactly, and you can definitely feel the sort of the dramatic presence within that song. I do think the strings give it the real drama as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and that's what I like about strings. And I try to use it as well, but strings do give an emotional level to the song.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think they create a lot of tension in that song as well. I feel that song's got so much tension in it, and you kind of don't know where it's going to go, and then when it finishes, I was like, play it again! Because it just takes me back to that moment, that particular point of my life. It just takes me back every time and go, I know that's exactly how I was feeling. And then with December that you like as well, that song's actually, I wrote that for my friends because their partners were at war, and she was talking to me about her partner being away, and she was using all these little words and little lines, and she got quite emotional in the car one night, and I was like, I need to write about this. I need to do something about this. And when I played it for her the first time, she just looked at me and she just was like, this is about me. And I was like, yeah, a little bit. And it was nice that she knew that it was about her. And for me, that's what it's about, is hoping that people can connect with the lyrics that I write. And then James comes in and goes, let's do this with it. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do. It's good because I use little descriptions and you kind of go, oh, that's like this. And I'm like, perfect.
the arrangement is absolutely outstanding for those two tracks that I hear the most. There's a lot of work. You can tell that there's a lot gone into it.
Yeah, we spent a long time conceptualizing the album. I think we did quite a few draft recordings and tried to get an idea of where we were going with it. But in case of January's Cold, we had something that was kind of working, but it wasn't really doing what we wanted it to do. And then I think we sort of took a bit of a time out on it. Eventually came back to it, and all of a sudden we sort of came to a conclusion that we were going to introduce this sort of quite strong string riff, effectively, to build some tension throughout the whole track. Lots of ambient noise, and lots of sort of that sort of chilly sort of feeling. So there's glass sort of sounds and various other bits and bobs going on in the background. Over this sort of fairly contemporary beat, I think we opted for something that was akin to like a dubstep beat, almost. Yeah, something that had a bit of a fall in it. So it was really fun arranging the tracks with Carron. As she sort of said, she's very sort of emotional, and she wanted that to come across in her songs. And from my perspective, it makes it a joy to be able to arrange those kind of things. And just with a few sort of descriptions, we sort of work together really well, sort of off the bat.
Yes.
It's quite apparent what we wanted to try and achieve together. December Comes was fun. It was sort of a jazzy bounce along sort of number, quite a sort of standard, if you like. It was following a bit of an interesting sort of rhythm, a bit of a shuffle, but yeah, kind of classic instruments, I think, in that one, wasn't it? December Comes, just to try and give it a standard quality.
Because it is essentially kind of a Christmas song, and I didn't want it to come across too festive, so I kind of wanted it to have this kind of summery kind of feel. So at the beginning, when James is playing the guitar, it's kind of got that, not Jack Johnson feel, but you kind of think, I wonder what this song's going to be like, and then it slowly builds until you kind of get like all the harmonies, and that's where you feel like, yeah, okay, I really want December to come. Please.
I did have that feeling of something's going to change as it's going along, and I do know. I think it's about, you're talking about 30 seconds into it before the change comes in.
Yeah.
But it's cracking.
Well, thanks very much. I'm glad you like it.
Yay!
Yeah,
I know, but it is
songs that happened, yeah.
I know, and for a song, it's not very, very long itself, the actual song.
No.
But you get it to a point, and it works quite well.
Yeah, I mean, it's important for me that the songs don't feel like they're dragging on.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing worse when there's a piece of music and it's really good, but you're kind of like, okay, I've had enough of that now, and you move on. And I like the fact that it's like a short story almost, kind of. And I think with musical theatre, I always see musical theatre as that. It's a show that's done in 2 hours, but it's kind of quickly over maybe the course of a year of someone's life, or things like Sweeney Todd. That's a show that's 2.5 hours long, but it's done over like the course of a month, and it just gets everything packed into that. And I think that's what I try to do with my music. I try to get that whole story in there, so by the end of it, you're really like, oh my goodness, I really got what that was about.
Yes, I do get that as well. Yes, it's a good feeling. I really do like story songs. It's how it's brought up. I did listen to Bruce Springsteen most of my life, and he's got the story songs. Dylan's got the story songs.
Yeah.
Bon Jovi as well. And they sort of stick with me, through my life. And I do like this, the story, the social commentary, or about people that is actually affected.
Yeah. Narratives, I think, they're great from an arranger's point of view. If you've got something that's a concise story, you want to be able to try and emulate that in the music as well. You kind of want to keep it rolling with the punches as you're getting those details. I think you sort of mentioning Bruce Springsteen. I think probably one of the most memorable songs that's got such a strong narrative would be something like Hotel California by the Eagles. It's got this very strong sense of a narrative going through it, and they often, in my opinion, they make the best songs. It's sort of a folk music trait, really, isn't it, to be able to tell a story through a song.
Exactly. But Hotel California is rather creepy.
It is, yeah.
It's a creepy song, that one,
A top Halloween song, that one.
I know.
With an amazing guitar solo in it.
Yeah.
I know that 2.5 minute bit, but you just hear, with, what is going on in this,
And I think with January's Cold, when we first started putting January's Cold together, there were moments where we were like, what? And then there was just this day where I came to the studio and you were like, wait till you hear January's Cold, and I was like, okay. And I listened to it, and I just turned around to James and was just like, that's it. That is exactly what I want it to be, because I kind of wanted the song to kind of mess with you a little bit in a way, like the kind of dark noises.
Yes.
It's quite loose, isn't it?
Yeah.
It certainly does do that, and that's what I love about it, because it's short, yet it doesn't feel short. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in it, I think.
I know. You have a strange sort of sense of time, as well.
Yeah.
I think the actual song itself is just under 3 minutes or so.
That's about right. Yeah.
But it doesn't feel that.
We wanted it to feel. I think when it sort of came to putting it down in its final arrangement, I wanted it to feel quite loose and free. There was a narrative in there, but it wasn't something that would be conventionally put into, I don't know, 2 verses and a chorus, for instance. There was something that was quite free form about it, and I think we wanted to build so that you felt that the song was going somewhere. You felt that there was a crescendo arriving at some point or another, but that didn't necessarily sort of fall into a conventional format of a pop song. It was far more sort of far more free in its form than perhaps its musical theatre form.
It does work as a song,
Oh, that's great.
I'm
really glad you like it.
I know. I have this strange sort of feeling, since I've been doing this radio station, and you'll probably hear it in a few interviews I've done already.
Yeah.
But one of the things that always comes to my mind when I listen to a song is, well, I've not heard this before. Because it's like, wow, I have that strange sort of feeling. It's like I should be hearing this. I should be humming this all the time.
Oh wow!
That's
really sweet.
I'm a little bit like, wow, that's brilliant. I do find my friends, if I'm sitting in the car with them, humming "December Comes," and I'm like, "Are you humming my song?" And she's like, "Yeah, I am actually." Or I did a wedding recently, and I sang at the wedding, and then one of my friends was like, "Oh, let's go because the entertainment's great, but I want to hear you play." And I was like, "I don't really play the guitar for people, but I'll do it because we've all had a few drinks. It's fine." So I was playing "December Comes," and all of them, they knew all the words. People that I didn't know, who had bought the EP from this wedding, they was like, "Oh, we know this song," and Kelly's like, "Oh, it's Carron's," and they're like, "Wow." So when I come across someone that knows the song and they say that they like it, for me it is like, oh, I'm so pleased, because for a while, because I've been songwriting for a number of years, and I deemed all my songs as personal to me, and I didn't want to do anything with them. And it was actually when I went to see you guys perform at the Bull's Head that I was like, maybe I should do this more, and I should move away from just doing jazz and jazz standards. I should really go for it on my own music. And that's when I started to feel the confidence to put it out there. So when we did live gigs, I'm really confident with my music at live gigs. I can do anything, and I feel if we want to speed up January's Cold, we can, or we can slow it right down to nothing, we can strip it back. But when you come into the studio, the song that you do live has to be done completely different. You have to realise that actually it's not going to sound like it does when you're doing live. You find a new sound for it, and then
yes,
you've got a lot more options in the studio.
You can really play with it.
To have a lot of fun with making the track.
And I think January's Cold, because we'd done January's Cold a couple of times before at a gig, and it always worked well, but it just didn't feel like it had that thing that it needed. It needed something. So when we came into the studio and we worked on it, and I was like, this is it now. So when we do January's Cold live now, it is pretty cool the way we do it, because we've got the guy on Latin percussion and we've got the drummer doing this irregular beat, and James on the electric guitar, and my friend David's on the piano, and it's just like the song feels like it comes alive for me. So yeah,
it's got the feeling of a whole song, really. It's a wholesome song. That's probably what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I'm really pleased that you like it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like when you sent it to me, and I pressed the play. It's the first track, I think, if I remember rightly. Press play. It went, wow. I was speechless for a few seconds, and it's like, yep. And it's like, I've really got to hear more of this, And it's always good. I do like doing interviews and getting behind the story, but hearing something so different, it was amazing.
It's lovely to hear you say that.
Yeah, I think January's Cold was...
it was something different.
It was something different. And my other songs, like Smile, for example, wrote that song about my two best friends. They have been there for me so much, and even I've been going through so much rubbish, or they've been going through stuff, we've been there for each other. So that song, it is a little bit cheesy, but it still has the drama in it. And then the song You Promised, which is obviously the title track, that song is very personal to me, again, because it was about a time where I was going through a few issues myself, and also a friend who was breaking up with her boyfriend. She was talking to me, and again, I was taking the words that she was saying and like turning them into something that I kind of related to. So for that song, I just wanted it to be vocals and guitar to say, January's Cold and December comes, you kind of expect a bit more of that, but I can also do this. And I wanted people to hear the voice as well.
Oh, yes.
The theatrical side of my voice through one particular song. And I think, actually, You Promised was done in one take. For the vocals, it was I just needed to be on my own in the studio and just do it. And at the end of it, I was in an absolute state. I was crying my eyes out. I was like, oh. But I needed to be in that zone to perform that song. And with every song I do, I have to have an emotional connection to it. I can't just sing. I have to make sure that I perform it, because it's important to me that if people are buying this, they need to know that that's all of me in it. That is everything that I can give you in that song. And I think that's why I take so much time. And also, poor James, I'm like, no, I don't like that. So.
And I know the hard work it goes into making a song, work together. It is hard work.
Yeah, there's a lot of time spent.
Exactly.
Playing around with split seconds of a track, just to try and get that feel right. I mean, some of it can come quite naturally, like Carron said, You Promised, it was done in a take, and it's great when you're able to sort of hit something on the head. And invariably, I sort of find the more that you work on something, if you don't think you've quite hit it on the head, the harder it becomes to kind of really kind of capture it. I think there's a lot of the excitement and the feel that you get out of music can come often in the first few takes. It's a difficult thing. If you don't get it right the first take, then you inevitably end up having to spend quite a few sessions sort of trying to get into the right zone for it. It's a bit of a funny thing.
I know exactly what you mean. I've been there myself.
Yeah.
So it's for myself. Is that even though you do it so often in the final version, I always still find things that I wish that I'd done.
You've done a different way.
Yeah. And it's always been. I think, it's always the thinking afterwards.
Yeah.
But
it just happens, isn't it? It's just one of those things that all musicians probably go through.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, there's no kind of rule book with music, is there? It's sort of it's such an emotive art form to be involved in. Creating music and writing songs are it's kind of a precious thing to a lot of people. Music is an incredibly universal thing, and so exactly. I think with that there comes a certain amount of self-criticism where you feel like you've got to try and put your best foot forward all the time.
Yeah.
Invariably, it's impossible to be creative all the time. So it's it can be very emotional, and I think sometimes it's the journey that you take when you're creating a track. That eventually sort of leads to the emotion that gets put out at the end of it. It's a funny thing.
Exactly. And I think in order to actually make something good, you do have to be emotional. I don't think you can not be. It's music is just getting those notes right is emotional itself. That's something I find that lacks in what's happening out there in the music world just now.
Yeah, what's that in the mainstream?
Yeah,
I would agree with you. Yeah,
everything's detached from emotion. It's just the beat. It's all about the beat now. You do get occasional good ones, but I mean, normal. The what's passed for music now is just 3 minutes, and that's it.
Yeah, it's very formatted, isn't it? It's I think when we were recording this EP, one of the first things that Carron said to me was, I want this to feel like real music, live instruments. I want that sort of, that sort of real feeling behind it. And although we may have played around with various sound effects and bits and bobs to try and create ambience in certain tracks, I'm very much along her line of thinking. I've played musical instruments all my life, and it's something that you can't capture a great musical performance through digitizing everything, through doing it on a MIDI keyboard or whatever it might be. There has to be that human element in the rhythm or whatever it might be in an instrument for it to really sound like music. But that's my personal opinion.
And I completely agree with James on it. I think that because I'm from a musical theatre background, and I have in the past had to do shows with backing tracks, and there is nothing in the world like hearing a live band and a vocalist. There's nothing like it. When you go to a show or any musical, I went to see Matilda recently, and that show was out of this world. It was so good. And all that jazz, Chicago, when you go and see that and they perform that song, All That Jazz, and you've got the band on the stage in front of you and they're dancing, you just feel like you are part of it. And because I'm from that kind of background and I've always worked with live musicians, even though I've been on the stage kind of side of it and I've been performing, I completely respect the fact that they've got so much work to do and you have to work with them to make something. I think that's why we work well together, because we both understand that for me it's all about that vocal performance and I have got to get it right every time, because you don't get a second chance when you're on the stage. You've got to do it at that moment. People have paid a lot of money to see you. Yeah. And it's the same when you're playing music in a live band. You have to be like, I have to get all these chords right and I want to do this with it. But for me, I felt quite restricted as an actress, and I'm kind of because I'm a Gemini, I'm a little bit of a fighter. I'm like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I think when I found that I really wanted to go forward with songwriting and being a singer-songwriter, I decided, I don't play any instruments. This is really unfair. I need to appreciate the musician side of it. So I learned the guitar. I'm not great, but I've learned it, and I'm about to learn the saxophone. I'm trying to practice the drums. So I want to be able to come into the studio and say to James, can we do this with that actually? Or I heard this the other day, and I think I've made this up. And I think now we're going on to the album, I'm getting a little bit more, can we do that? Oh, can we just change that? And I was like that anyway on the first one, but because it was so new for me, I think the whole experience, and that's why we just did an EP. We didn't want to do like a full album. We wanted to do like an introduction, really. So now I've been playing more and I know more, and a lot of my songs are guitar based. So yeah, I think I can appreciate your side of things, but also because James sings, so he appreciates my side of things with my vocals as well.
That's fantastic. I like to hear that. It just gives you sort of know each other, and you sort of click quite well together.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's good. That's probably a good way of working a really good musical partnership as well, if you both understand each other.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of kind of you have to be willing to compromise.
Oh yes.
It's very easy for individuals sort of in music to have a full concept of what they want to put forward. And in saying that, it's also very easy to be able to ignore other contributions to things. So when Carron sort of came to the studio, she had all these ideas. I took it as my job to be able to sort of to interpret exactly what she was looking for, and that can come from all sorts of things. It doesn't necessarily have to come from a musical dictation. You know, it comes from your personal rapport with each other and sort of understanding where each other are coming from. So, you know, in that respect, it's very nice when you arrive at a finishing point of doing the EP as we did, that you feel like you both, you know, sort of work together and you've sort of come through the other side and it's been a success, at least from your opinion, before it goes out and does whatever it does and gets listened to by everybody else. It's a really gratifying thing.
Yeah.
We both really enjoy the process of it.
I really love your story. It's just incredible. You know, it's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah,
Hard,
And it's not ended yet.
hard work.
We've got the album now, which we're working on, so that's exciting. Yay!
How far down the line do you think that will be?
It's just started, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, we're sort of conceptualising. We're drafting it out at the moment, so it's a case of Carron's sort of bringing the songs into the studio bit by bit, and we're going through them and sort of talking through the ideas about the kind of feel that she wants. There's quite a few concepts that Carron kind of wants to implement into this album.
Yeah.
That we're sort of, I suppose, strategizing on, aren't we? So I don't know. I guess it's probably down the line, probably for summer next year, I would imagine, possibly autumn. It really depends. I mean, it's impossible to tell you an exact date because of the creative process that we work in. But
and for me, there's no hurry with it either, because each song that I've picked for the album, because I have all the songs, but then I wrote a song about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I decided that it has to be on the album because it's a moment of a point in my life right now. I'm creating this album now, and I was like, this has to be on it. So I've taken a song off, which will be used for the next album, because it's not going to work with the other songs. So because I'm from musical theatre, and whenever you listen to a musical theatre album, or a soundtrack, as we would call it, you have the overture and it goes all the way through, and then you have the final wow, amazing song. And for me, those songs have to work together, not necessarily in that order, but they have to work together. And I think on the EP, those 4 songs, they really do go well together. And for me, the only reason they go well together is because of our musical relationship, and we know exactly what we want the outcome to be. So the album has got a lot of different kind of songs in it, but they will work really. I hope everyone enjoys it. They should work really well together. I'm really excited about it.
I'm actually looking forward to hearing it as well. So, you know, once it's there, then let's showcase it on ED Music Radio as well. You know, get it out.
Fantastic.
And I must say, and before I forget, you know, I want to say thank you for all your retweets as well.
Oh yeah, I'm well up for retweeting. I love it. I love Twitter. Without Twitter, I don't think I'd have got as much airplay. I love to tweet. I love to Facebook. I love to tweet because we're in a digital age now, and I think that's why I wanted the EP to only be available on download. Not because I was being selfish or saving money or not having CDs done. If people want a CD, more than welcome to ask me for one, and I'll get one done for them. It's just, we live in a digital world, and I really believe in things like being able to access something when you need it. And when I was a kid, I had my radio on all the time. I used to get into trouble for having it on at 2 a.m.
Oh my God.
Please turn that off was the polite term.
Yes.
So I think that's what I want. And then I'll probably do the same thing with the album as well. I will do it as a digital download because I want to do that. And because I've done that with Twitter, and I mention iTunes and Amazon and Google Play, and I mention all the places you can buy it. But then, because I've been doing that, we've met through Twitter, so that's brilliant, and I'm so grateful. Like, when I saw that you were playing December Comes, I was jumping around my flat like, yeah, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And my housemate was like, what's going on? And she's my best friend. She jumps in, and I'm like, listen to this!
Oh my gosh.
I'm not one of those people to kind of shy away from it, because I'm so proud of what we've accomplished. I think it's really good that people love what we're doing, and I just hope and fingers crossed that they're going to love the album as well.
And you know, it's always good. I know I can't tweet all the time. You know, I do my best.
Oh, you do really well, actually.
You know.
In a bit of a tweeting session last night, which was quite funny. I think it went on for 3 hours. I was like, I need to go to bed now. I'm really tired. I've got to go to the studio tomorrow.
That's the thing. That's the thing, though, is if you do get bogged down by it, then you might lose your creative side as well if you're always using it. But I try my best. I like doing the interviews. I get a chance to do my own music as well. You know.
That's great.
So I try and get all that done. But I do love the radio process, and I've heard a lot of good songs since I've done this.
That's brilliant.
You know, and I just feel it's a shame that, you know, some of these have not been heard, you know, in the wider scene.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I find it quite hard myself getting airplay because you're new to it and people are like, who is this person? So I've really focused on it, and then when you messaged me and I was just like, this is brilliant, this is like, I text you straight, I was like, oh my god, you're not going to believe what's happening, because I'm so dramatic and I'm so, not loud, maybe a bit loud, but because I'm so dramatic and I'm so eager for good things to come from it.
Oh dear, I know exactly.
I get really overexcited, and then I have to tell the whole world. So like my poor manager Anna, she's just like, Carron, but she's as bad as me. So when I text her to go, we've got airplay, she was like, oh my goodness. So she was really happy, and then she started tweeting, oh, it's just madness. I love it. And I think that it's good to support each other, and
exactly.
I'm all one for helping people that have helped me. So if someone helps me, I think, do you know what, I'm not going to forget about that person, I'm going to mention them, and that's why I do the Follow Fridays, and I do Shout Out Wednesday, because I think it's important to support the people who've supported you, and with the band as well, like, I always make sure the band are fully looked after, like food, drink, money, and I would rather that they had all the money and I had nothing, as long as they were happy. I like to look after these guys.
I must say, I do. It is just amazing to see how much you tweet. It's good. It's good to see it. Sometimes I wish I could catch up with it.
I think someone said last night I was the fastest tweeter in the West. I was like, oh, this is brilliant.
I learned when I started with Twitter, I didn't know it very well. So what I did was I just followed Stephen Fry and see what he did, and then I learned from it just watching what he does, and it's amazing what you can learn from just watching somebody else doing their tweets.
And that's what I did, because the first time Twitter didn't work for me, and I left, and then I went back to it, and it was as I was recording the EP, and people were like, when are we going to hear something? And I was like, I don't want to give it out yet, I don't want anyone to hear anything, I'm so precious about it. And then when we registered everything, and it was out there, and you gave me the date, when James gave me the date that it was going to be released, I kind of went, oh no, I hope everyone likes it. And you kind of do that. You have that moment where you're like, I hope everybody likes it. But I had so much faith in it that I really kind of didn't care. Once I heard it the first time, when I took the CD home and I put it into my system and I put it on as loud as I could, and I opened the windows thinking, yeah, the neighbours can hear this. They can complain. I say, it's mine, it's me. When I heard it, and I listened to the whole thing, and I just sat down, and I just, afterwards, was just so proud of what we'd achieved. I just thought, I don't care what people think. This is a really big achievement for me, and this is everything that I've ever wanted to do. So if people love it, great. If they don't, then that's their opinion, and I'll give them that, and I'll take on board any of their comments. So, yeah.
The scariest thing musically that ever happened to me was quite strange. I was walking. I live in Dunfermline. And I walked into one of the shops. It's like a pin shop type thing. And as I walked in, there was a song being played. And I was saying, this is quite nice. I like this. It's really amazing. Then it dawned on me. It's mine. And
Best feeling.
it was scary because, you know, this is my song. I wrote it. I played the instruments. I didn't sing it because there was somebody else singing it. But it's my song. And I'm walking into a shop. My wife beside me, who didn't really believe it either. And it's like, they're playing my song. And it's like, oh my gosh, as if they're looking at me now. It is a weird feeling.
It really is. It really is the strangest feeling when you hear. I logged on the other night to listen to you, and as I logged on, I heard, "Oh, I can." I was like, "Oh my god, this is December comes. This is December comes."
I think I wasn't tweeting at the time.
Yeah, I was just like, and I think I did actually log on and went, "Oh my goodness, I just caught the end of December comes." Right? And it is an amazing feeling, and I'm so grateful to everybody that has bought it, because without people buying it, you kind of think, am I doing the right thing? Do people like the sound? And I got a message today from someone saying, Carron, we love your sound, we love your music, we love your voice. And I was just like, yes, that's exactly what you want to hear. But as well, if someone said to me, I like it, but I'm not sure about this, I would take that on board, because, as I said, that's someone's opinion, and it's nice to know what other people think. And we've had such lovely reviews on iTunes and Amazon and Google Play. We've just had such lovely feedback. And I really want to get on with the album now and get these songs done. So, but again, I don't want to rush it. I want people to be
I think
really happy when we finish it.
Creativity does take time as well, And I've said this before to other people, but all those famous people now seem to be doing albums once a year now.
Yeah.
Which is getting a little bit scary.
Yeah.
And I think
for me, I don't want to just put anything out. It's not about that. I'm more than happy to do YouTube videos and do little videos with friends and have them out for people to listen to. But when it comes to the actual album, or if we did a single or anything like that, it's really important for me that before it goes out, I'm happy with it. And you're the same as well. Yeah. We kind of sit there and go, yeah, it's done. It's done now.
It's knowing when to say it's done, though. I do a lot of the time. It's a bit worrying. Yeah, I know what you're saying there, with it being a bit worrying that artists are releasing an album every year, but I think that's kind of part of the mainstream model, is that they need to continually reinforce their sort of their sales, effectively. Give them something new every 5-10 minutes. I don't think brilliant pieces of music or fantastic albums over the years have ever been really written in 5 minutes flat. No. There's been a hell of a long process that's come before it, which is about the artists or the band, kind of getting to know where they are with things. I think it's a nice thing about doing an EP, is that you get to kind of experiment a little bit. We wanted to give it a mixed, have a bit of a mixed bag, so there was a decent variety of material on the EP that would show the kind of stuff that we can do together. But when it comes to the album, as Carron's been saying, I think we want to create something that's going to be holistic and that feels like an entire piece. It might be 10 songs or something like that, but something that feels that it's been made for a purpose. Or
I salute that. Yes. Yes.
So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun.
I'm really looking forward to it, because James is very good at making me cups of tea. So.
Cara's brilliant bringing carrot cake.
Yeah,
to the
we have a good thing here, because I bring cake. I'm very good at baking cake, and so I bring cake and James makes tea for me. It's perfect, and we just get on with the work. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is a long process, I suppose. It's got to be done.
Yeah,
that's right.
Lots of sugary treats to keep the energy levels high, and caffeine.
More tea than music making sometimes.
Yeah.
I was thinking of, are you planning to do any tours around Britain at all?
I would love to do tours or festivals or anything that would kind of come our way. Anna, my manager, she's working on all that at the moment, and I'd really welcome that, actually, because I do a lot of gigs in London, and we've got a gig on the 25th of January. That's at the Pheasantry Pizza Express on Kings Road, and that's going to be great, actually, because we've got the full band for that, and I'm going to be doing a real range of music, so people will be able to come along and listen and hear musical theatre, which I used to do, and some jazz, and new songs that we're working on now, the EP songs, maybe a couple of pop covers that I've done in the past, but I've kind of stripped them back and changed them, and we do stuff to songs, don't we? Yeah.
Brilliant.
And kind of a few of my influences I like, because I really like Kate Bush, and
I can feel that in the songs.
January's Cold.
I'm a Kate Bush fan too. So.
I can feel a lot of her recent album in there as well. I've forgotten what it's called now.
50 Words for Snow.
That's it.
Yeah.
But then one of my favourite bands, which takes me back to my childhood, is actually ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. And I play their album out of the blue every day. It's my favourite album. I love it. And Mr. Blue Sky, if that comes on, I'm the happiest girl in the world. It takes me right back to when I'm like 5 and
I think it's
in the car and
I think it's that jolly piano at the beginning that does it.
yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
I know.
Yay.
I know, it's very simple, but it's quite a happy song.
Yeah, but then also Turn to Stone is great, and Jungle, and there's just so many songs on that whole album.
I'm just so used to Mr. Blue Sky though. That's the one.
Yeah, and I do sing Mr. Blue Sky at home. I've got my own version of it that I like to do, but it's just me. That's what I would do. I'd never perform it live because, as far as I'm concerned, it can't be topped. And I love it so much. So yeah, and there's so many other influences I have, like Ella Fitzgerald, Nina Simone, Billie Holiday. Stephen Sondheim is a massive part of my life because of the musical theatre element. So Into the Woods, Weekend in the Country, Sweeney Todd, they're all musicals that have heavily influenced me as a songwriter. And I really like the way that Sondheim some of the words are just off the beat and they're scattered and then they're slowed down and then they're melody. And it's just the way that they're produced, I really like. But then obviously you've got your classic musicals with Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice and
that's the ones I'm used to.
Your modern stuff. But I quite like the way that certain pop songs are now being used in musicals. I quite like that. So Mamma Mia with all the ABBA songs, it's very clever the way it's been done. So I can appreciate that. And for me, the ultimate for me would be for one of my albums to be used in a musical. That would be.
You think about it.
I'd be like, yay!
You think about it now. We've got a movie now based on the Proclaimers.
Yeah, which is brilliant. I loved it.
I've not seen it yet, but I'm trying to. My brain just can't sort of like work it out. It's like, wait a minute, right? It's got the unofficial Scottish anthem in there.
I came out so happy after watching that. I skipped all the way home, I think, through Richmond. There's nothing wrong with skipping. So, and I like music that makes me feel really good. And even if it's a song that's quite dark and a bit sad and kind of depressing, if that song I've connected to emotionally, then I'm like, that's a really good song. And as far as I'm concerned, that's great for me. And if that's what my music does for people, then I would be very happy.
Fantastic. I think that's exactly what music is all about, connecting with people. And I think, Modern One is just churning out for people. We get occasional swear word because kids love that.
Yeah.
But it's nothing about emotion.
And I'm not one for swear words in songs. There's a couple of musicals actually that do have it in, and I'm like, actually it doesn't matter that it's there because it's kind of appropriate. If I hear a swear word in a song, I'm kind of like,
I think if it's well placed,
if it's done properly, it works. But then I have heard songs where it's in and you think, I don't know, I would have used something else. But I suppose that's how that artist was feeling at that time, and that's what they really wanted to put in. So I haven't yet put any swear words in songs, but I'm sure they'll appear one day.
Probably refrain from it for a moment. Yeah. The only time I ever felt the swear word was appropriate was from Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
Because I could feel how annoyed she was.
Yeah, she's great for that as well.
When that came out, it's like, I know where you're going. But then the songs now are just saying it for there's absolutely no purpose to it.
Yeah, it's gratuitous rather than kind of specifically placed in there to effective. The more they use it, the less effective it becomes.
It's just to get that red E on iTunes.
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah, I suppose it's a cunning sales strategy, that one, isn't it? Yeah, if you've got something bright red next to your song, people are more likely to cut into it straight away.
Exactly.
It's very instantaneous, this world nowadays. The kind of downloading of music and things like that. I mean, Carron was talking about it earlier, but I mean, the online market is vast. You know, there has to be something to give you an edge there. But I think Carron, you know, one of the reasons why I like working with Carron is because she's very professional and driven about the way that she goes forward with her ambitions. You know, she knows exactly what she wants, and she'll work hard in all aspects of it, which for, you know, an independent musician nowadays is kind of the way forward. You know,
exactly.
You have to be a master of all trades, it seems. You know, you have to be great at your marketing, you're great at your songwriting, and everything else on top of your social media and all that kind of stuff. And
that's exactly what you are. You're no longer just a musician. You know, you said you had to take up the guitar as well, so you can feel the emotional level with the musicians.
That's right. Yeah.
But
I really think that I'm one of these people that thinks you have to work really hard for something to get as much out of it as possible. And my dad taught me that, and I have a lot of respect for my parents. They have worked their whole lives, they have worked so hard, and they really taught me to respect the fact and understand the fact that I have to work hard to achieve what I want to achieve. It's not going to be just given to you on a plate. You have to go out there and find your dreams and go for it. And I had a teacher, Mrs. Pentiff, that was like, you have got to go for this, you've got to do it. And also Caroline Crawford, my dance tutor, she was amazing, and she pushed me so much to the point of I was up till midnight doing dance routines in my bedroom, knowing that if I didn't do this right, I'm not going to get the qualification I need. And there's so much that I've learned from people, and I'm just very grateful for that as well. And it is amazing to know that all those people are still here supporting me, which is lovely. And I just think I'm not one of these people that's like gonna go out there and be like, it's just going to be given to me. I think you have to work hard, you have to go for it. And that would be my advice to anyone that wants to do music or whatever they want to do with their life. If you want to do it, go for it and work really hard for it. You know, don't just think because you got turned down once, it's not going to happen. I got told no so many times at auditions for the West End, and I didn't give up. And eventually, I got a part in a show, and I was so happy. And then I decided to do songwriting, and I got knocked down so many times. And then I met James, and he was like, "I believe in what you're doing," and I was like, "This is great." And it was meant to happen at this stage for me, and I've worked so hard to do it. I really want it to happen. So that would be my advice to anyone. Don't give up. Follow your dreams. Keep going for it. Keep working hard for it, and it will happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think that's a good way to end, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's exactly what we should do, because if things don't go right, you know, I do get a feeling that music is going to be some sort of breaking point coming because of what's coming out just now.
Yeah.
And those people going through X Factor and all those kind of shows and then disappearing, but then you've still got the main ones, but they're just doing what's there. But I think it's going to be a point in which people are just going to get a little bit fed up.
Yeah.
There's artists out there as well who stand the test of times. You know, there are people that... Because I've got my cousin and all her friends, they're lovely. They're all like 15, 16, and they all follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and they're great. And they all talk about musicians that I love. And I'm like, you know about Kate Bush? Oh my goodness, I'm so impressed that this 15-year-old is talking about Kate Bush. I'm so happy to hear that. And, you know, I've got one girl on there who's constantly talking about Led Zeppelin. Like, she just doesn't stop. And it's great to hear that there are kids out there.
That gives me some faith.
You know, yeah.
Because
so,
I wouldn't have thought somebody under my age would have known about Kate Bush. Or Led Zeppelin. Maybe the Who, because they're always being played. But wow, that's good. That is good. Some faith there, I think.
Indeed, yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. I'm really grateful.
No problem. And that was a good interview, and hopefully we can do this again sometime as well.
Yeah, it'd be great. Maybe we could do like a bit of song or something another time.
Fantastic. Thank you very much again.
You're welcome. I'll speak to you on Twitter later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
EA Music Radio.